Another great show coming your way on today's Philadelphia 76ers Now, but before we begin, help the show out, and also you've heard from producer Chip a lot. He's the man behind the scenes who gets this show ready in order for him and I to do. So I want you to also show him some love on X. So share this video, select the Twitter icon, click post to Twitter, now known as X. I want you to tag producer Chip at Jake Chipper. He's going to give you a retweet. First 10 shares will get a follow. You do that, we appreciate it. It supports the show. You also give him some recognition as well. And with that, let's talk some Sixers basketball. And this is Philadelphia 76ers Now by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Senior, coming up, recapping the road trip so far for the Sixers and another look at the Eastern Conference standings. A really solid win against the Los Angeles Clippers for much of the game against the Lakers on Friday night. It was back and forth, but as Chip tweeted out, Lakers definitely paid the officiating crew in order to get that dub. Ugly loss against the Suns, 115-102. Tyrese Maxey was cold. A solid showing against the Lakers, but Sixers ended up losing that game 101-94. And then against a full-strength Clippers team on Sunday, Philadelphia pulling out a 121-107 victory in which they got efforts from multiple people. Payne really stole the show. And now West Coast road trip turns to Sacramento. A huge game. Can the Sixers come out with just a split here? That's what we've been talking about this Sixers team needing. On the back end of a back-to-back, it's not going to be easy, but not much travel going from LA, SoCal, to Sacramento, NorCal. 41-29 are the Kings. A split among these four games, again, would be huge for the Sixers. And Maxey had a tough start to the road trip. I think this happens a lot when you see a star go down and that next star is counted on literally every single night to pretty much drop 25 to 30 points. Maxey's great, but that's a lot to ask of him against the Suns and the Lakers. 29 minutes against Phoenix, 39 minutes against the Lakers, 6 points, 27 points, although the field goal number's not great in either of these games, especially the 10-26 outing on Friday against the Lakers. Been ice cold, though, from three-point range. 0 of 3 against the Suns, 1 of 9 against the Lakers, but why I love this young player is the short memory that he has. And he can really move on quickly and flush a clunker. He came alive against the Clippers, and he played 44 minutes. A lot of tick for Tyrese Maxey, 24 points, 6 assists. The shooting numbers where you need and want them to be, 9 of 17, 3 of 5 from 3. I thought he pushed the tempo at times when he needed to push the tempo. The chase down block of James Harden was a great moment to basically say, yeah, I'm now the lead guard for the 76ers team, not your old slow ass. And talking about this backcourt, got to talk about Payne. You know, Payne and his shooting numbers are so Jekyll and Hyde, so up and down. But for the most part, even though Kyle Lowry has taken a lot of the minutes away from Payne, I do think that he's been a pretty solid addition for this team. It's not every night in which Nick Nurse is going to ask him to play 24 minutes. But you'll certainly take this outing here. 8 of 15 from the floor, 5 of 10 from 3, 23 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and definitely got to revisit the Payne trade to a certain degree because at the time, Chip, some people were upset at losing Patrick Beverley and his tenacity. Payne has more than made up for that. And I think the Sixers maybe had plans, okay, we'll trade away Patrick Beverley, knowing that we're going to upgrade offensively, maybe take a little bit of a step back defensively by bringing in Kyle Lowry. But Kyle Lowry brings you a lot of the smart, high basketball IQ types of minutes that Patrick Beverley is able to give you. And in a way, it's kind of a wash. You lose Beverley, you bring in Kyle Lowry, and then you also have Payne. So a 2-for-1 almost.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I don't know how much time Payne will get come playoffs. They're going to obviously be playing Maxey a ton. I think Lowry will still get a lot of minutes in the playoffs. We'll see what happens with Payne. As you said, you know, he's very up and down. He has his off nights, but occasionally he has nights like this. And, you know, I saw some people on Twitter talking about it. And I remember at the time of the trade, a lot of people were upset about moving on from Pat Bev just because of his energy and his tenacity and the dog mentality he brought.
Great guy for Philly.
Yeah, and people were, I think, unsure of what Cam Payne would bring. You know, I'm sure not a lot of people were watching Cam Payne before the trade, right? But the offensive game he brings, you know, Pat Bev, as much as we loved him, which is not much of a factor on offense. Let's just call it how it is. Didn't do much on offense. Cam Payne can come out and give you 5 threes in a random game. You know, he can drop 20 points, 3 assists. We've seen him have some good games here, and I think we need to revisit that trade because when it first happened, it was a little bit of a, you know, whatever. So it's a whatever trade, swapping depth pieces. But, man, Cam Payne, we'll see, you know, what happens with him long term. But he's done enough, I think, where if he had to get spot minutes in the playoffs, I think you could trust him. I really do. So
yeah, and you think back to that Phoenix Suns run to the NBA Finals, Cam Payne was the backup point guard to Chris Paul. So he does have experience in a playoff rotation, being a key figure of a team that made it deep in the playoffs. And obviously, if the Sixers get back Joel Embiid, they're hoping that maybe they can get those minutes from Cam Payne as well. I also like the flexibility and the versatility of having both a Kyle Lowry and a Cam Payne because they're different players in a way, especially on both ends of the floor with how they play that point guard spot and obviously how they move. Cam Payne quick, twitchy, Kyle Lowry not as much, more of that smooth mover. So how would you grade the Cam Payne trade? A, B, C, D, or F? Looking back on it, share with us your feelings. Coming up next, Paul Reed bouncing back and another look at the Eastern Conference standings. Where is Philadelphia right now? Stay tuned to find out. First, make sure you sign up with Factor Meals. 50% off when you use the code SixersChat50. Eating better? Easy with Factor's delicious, ready-to-eat meals. Every fresh, never frozen meal, chef-crafted, dietitian approved, ready to go in just 2 minutes. You'll have over 35 different options to choose from every week, including Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. Also, there are more than 60 add-ons to help you stay fueled up and feeling good all day long. What are you waiting for? Get started today and get after your goals. These 2-minute meals allow you to fuel up fast, and the restaurant quality meals, ready to heat them up, eat them wherever you want, whenever you want. Pancakes, smoothies, more, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. No prep, no mess. Factor's meals ready to heat and eat, so you don't have to worry about all the prepping, cooking, and cleaning up. So factormeals.com/SixersChat50. Use the code SixersChat50. You get 50% off your order. It's awesome. You don't want to miss out on this limited time deal. We'll put that link down below in the comment section and in the description of this video. We said on the show, Paul Reed has played solid basketball. He also was one of our Sixers who needed to step up just because there's a better player in there and a more consistent player in there. And we gave credit where credit is due, that he's played well in moments, that he's an important figure on this Sixers team. He's only 24 years old. He went to Duquesne, so he's a little bit of a late bloomer. And against the Clippers, we saw the types of numbers that we want to see from Paul Reed. The activity levels are always going to be there. He's always going to check off the hustle points. He's always going to try to make winning plays. This is a player who cares, right? But as far as the contract that he got, him being a viable backup option to Joel Embiid and a guy who can stretch the floor a little bit, I give him credit for expanding his game and continuing to work at his craft, but also taking ownership. Like after that New York Knicks game last week, he took ownership of how poorly he played, and against the Clippers, 24 minutes, 10 points, 8 boards, 4 of 6, 3 steals, 2 blocks, always going to be a pest on the defensive end. Not to mention, he led the team in plus-minus against Los Angeles. A plus 17 on the stat sheet, and he grabbed 3 offensive rebounds. That allows you to get second-chance opportunities, keep possessions alive. But as the Sixers were trying to stave off any Clippers run late in that game, it allows you to not allow them to get as many opportunities on the offensive end of the floor. Now let's take a look at the Eastern Conference standings and give you an update there for where Philadelphia is. Again, everything continues to be so closely contested, pretty much between that 5-6 range and the 7-8 range. I don't think Philadelphia has to worry about the Chicago Bulls. Definitely don't have to worry about the Atlanta Hawks, it seems, every year right now under Trae Young. They're living in that play-in tournament range. You have the Heat, you have the Sixers, both 39 and 32. You have the Indiana Pacers at 40 and 32. So the Sixers, they're a half game back. The Orlando Magic have been able to extend their climb up the Eastern Conference standings a little bit. Philadelphia is now 3 games back of an Orlando team that has had it going on. In the words of Mark Zumoff, over the last few weeks, they've started to play really good hoop. And right behind the Cleveland Cavaliers, you see the New York Knicks at 42 and 28, Cavaliers at 43 and 28. So really, what's going to happen? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like as we enter the stretch run here in the Eastern Conference playoffs, all of those teams, for different reasons and in different ways, are very closely tied. Obviously, for the Sixers, it's going to be hard to make up ground to get to that 3 seed, but there's some wiggle room. There's some meat left on the bone for the Sixers to go on a little bit of a run with maybe the potential pending return of Joel Embiid as we sit here on this March 25th. Sixers schedule, next 5 games here on the docket. Kings on Monday, they're 41 and 29. Against the Clippers again, 44 and 26. Can you beat Los Angeles once again? James Harden definitely going to get booed in South Philly. On the road against the Cavs. Cavaliers playing hot ball, 43 and 28. We'll see if D-Mitch is back in the lineup then. On the road against the Raptors. Against the Thunder, who are just one of the best young upstart teams and one of the best stories in the NBA. The average age of their starting 5 is about the average age of UNC's starting 5. That's how young and talented OKC is. Sixers schedule after that. That was the last 5. Here's the next 6 after that. So next 11 games right here on the schedule for Philadelphia. And maybe Embiid comes back at some point in this stretch. And this is the remaining schedule for the rest of the year for Philadelphia. At Heat, huge game. At Grizzlies, winnable. Spurs are awful. Pistons suck. Magic not good. Nets terrible, as Charles Barkley would say. These last 6 games, you find a way to sweep these last 6 games here, ladies and gentlemen. Philadelphia could go from the 8th seed up to like the 6th seed. Like that's possible. Maybe even higher. 5 seed. So the schedule overview here, 5 home, 6 road. Not a bad split. 6 of those 11 games against teams with above 500 records. And that game against Miami could literally decide who's the 7th seed, who's the 8th seed. Now, you lose that first play-in tournament game, you still have an opportunity on that back end to take on the winner of what looks to be now Chicago and Atlanta. And then you would be that 8th seed, though, have to take on the Boston Celtics in the first round. Sixers are not beating the Celtics. I'm sorry. They're just not. So how will the Sixers finish the season? Give me a record prediction. Give me a strong, bad, good, weak, whatever you got. Let me know. It's important for Philly, I think, to do whatever they can to avoid that play-in. When you look at the standings, Chip, one question comes to mind. How can you get that 6th seed? That's what you and I have been talking about. I'm not worried about the Cleveland Cavaliers. Sixers can beat the Cavs in that first-round series, and then they could take on the Bucks in that second round and avoid Boston.
Yeah, very possible. Looking at the schedule, right? You got 5 games left against teams under 500. Look, if you want to get the 6th seed, you got to win all 5 of those. Yeah. That's the Nets, that's the Pistons, the Spurs, the Grizzlies, and the Raptors. You have to win all 5 of those games. And then after that, Kings tonight, gonna be tough. Clippers at home in a few days. Can you beat the Clippers twice in a span of like 4 or 5 days? I don't know. They're a good team. At Cleveland, if there's no Donovan Mitchell, I think you got to win that game. So there's 6 wins right there if you beat those under 500 teams, lose to the Kings and Clippers, beat the Cavs. The Thunder, you probably lose that game.
Yeah. But if you have Embiid, it could change.
No, yeah, it does depend. When does Embiid come back? The Heat game, you got to circle that one. That's the game. That's a must-win game. That puts you at, 7 wins? Then you just got to, maybe you can beat the Magic at the end of the year if you have Embiid back, or maybe you can steal one against the Clippers.
I'm not worried about the Magic either.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Especially if you have Embiid back. So, look, if you can win 7, 8 games out of these last 11, you have a really good shot at getting that 6th seed. But I think that's what it's going to take because the Heat, the Pacers, they know what's at stake here. They've both been playing well. I think if you only win 6 of these games, I don't know if that pulls you out of the play-in. So I think that's what it's going to take for them right there. 7 to 8 wins out of these last 11.
It's Chase and Chip spitting fire right here on 76ers Now, or as our guy Potion would say, who has put together a couple of our intros for Philadelphia Eagles Now, Big Dip Chip and Babyface Chase. If you like the show, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, youtube.com/76ers TV. Year-round coverage of the Sixers right here on the show. Win or lose, we got you covered.